어젯밤의 뜨거운 대화 That's what it turned me on.
Welcome back to Sex at 10. I'm Rebecca Rosenblat, your host, here to answer your questions about love and lust. So give us a shout and let's chat. Everything's fair game. Cheating, body image concerns, relationship or intimacy questions, orientation issues, sexual dysfunction. The only stupid question is an unasked one. Joining us tonight is Jeff Moore, blogger, media personality, author, and someone who tells it like it is. So if you have any questions for this guy's guy, tonight's the night to call in. Speaking of calls, we have Mary. Good evening. What is your question for us, Mary?
I just have a really quick question.
Sure.
When my boyfriend and I have sex, I notice that a lot of air goes into the vaginal area,
Right.
and I make a lot of noise during sex. And I was wondering if there was any way to sort of decrease that. Like, I know there's a word for it, but I don't really want to use it on me.
That's okay. It's called queefing, aka vaginal farts, but it's basically there's air going in and you're pumping away, so air is eventually going to come out. Most people notice that when, especially when they're doing like a doggy style and it's pretty aggressive, that's when you're pushing a lot of air in. Lots of times people say that when it's missionary or some of the other positions, it doesn't happen as often, but with doggy, it's very common, and particularly if you're thrusting pretty fast. Is that what you've noticed, Mary? Or does it happen with other positions?
Missionary.
It happens with missionary too. Okay. So
Yeah.
is it like fast and furious, do you think?
I'd say like not that much actually. I'd say like when it's like slower, like when he like goes to like pull out and then
really?
he like pushes it back in, like it
Yeah.
I guess accumulates a lot of air as it's coming out.
Okay.
You know?
So maybe it's just like the angle of the dangle or something like that.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't feel embarrassed about that. Is that what's going on? Are you feeling embarrassed?
A little bit, yeah, because I laugh about it and then it kind of like ruins the mood, and it's just a comfort thing for me to like laugh about it.
I see.
You know?
So it's like a nervous laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you kind of giggle maybe or just kind of accept it, because they say that when you're having fun, when you're just totally letting go, that's when sex is noisy and messy and it does all these things that may feel awkward, but at the end of the day, you're having a good time and you feel comfortable enough to let this person inside your body. So don't worry too much. And I think you're going to the nervous giggle or the nervous laughter because you are concerned about it. So I wouldn't be concerned about it. I would just enjoy that. What would you say as a man?
Well, listen, that is still 1,000 times less embarrassing than not being able to get it up. Like, that's an
amazing.
embarrassing
Great
thing
point.
for men.
Yeah.
And when that happens, no one cares. It's like, well, I guess we were doing a pretty good job of that. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. You just laugh it off.
Yeah, I think just women feel a little uncomfortable.
It doesn't.
So, Mary, does that make sense? Like what Jeff said is really important. He said that for a guy, embarrassing is when he can't get it up, or he gets it up, he can't maintain it. But that's just sounds of lovemaking. So I would encourage you to not worry about it, because I think that's what's making you have that nervous laugh. Just relax, kind of go with it. It's supposed to be messy and noisy and do all sorts of stuff that can feel awkward, but the whole point is just kind of go with it and don't censor yourself. Okay, Mary? I hope that kind of puts your mind at ease. Isabella, good evening. What is your question for us tonight?
Good evening. You're fabulous. I have a little bit of a problem with some of the things that your guest
Yeah.
said.
Okay.
So he's saying that when you're first dating, you sort of have to wait for the guy to respond, or there's this game back and forth, texting, and like how many days, how many texts, or this and that. I really have a problem with that because I feel like everybody's doing that. That's the game. If you know that that person is the person for you, you know that it's right. And I really don't like the fact that there's this game that's out there.
And that's what I was saying to you, that, it feels like you're playing a game.
But that doesn't change anything. You don't like it. That's the world you live in. Like, I don't like poverty. There's a lot of people who struggle with poverty. This is the world we live in. These are the rules that have been laid out. And it's not even the rules. It's just about helping yourself be protected and aware. So it's good that you know this sucks. And no one really is a fan of it. But everyone's got their guard up so much now that it's sort of become this mess. And I agree with you that if you like someone, it should just naturally happen. But that doesn't always mean the other person is with you on that. And you have to allow them that opportunity to sort of progress.
To catch up.
Yeah, and figure it out.
Because you kind of know if you really like someone.
Yeah.
You feel it. Lots of people say that this could be the one. So I think that's what Isabella is saying, that you kind of know it. You're saying let that other person catch up to you. Is that it?
Yeah, because just because you feel that way doesn't mean that they're in the same boat. And it's great that you don't want to do those things, and it's great that you hope they don't want to do those things either. But you are entitled and should
So it's buyer beware, is what you're
but
saying.
it's also take things slow. Like, you don't have to call and text back right away, because Isabella, I'm sure you notice when he doesn't text you back. And you want him to notice that too, because there is that charge that you want to build between the two of you.
So it's waiting, anticipating. Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
it's healthy.
Building the charge?
And it sucks, but it's there.
But it's there. Is that what you were sort of talking about, Isabella?
Online, because I was feeling like I dated all of my friends' friends, and I went through the numbers, and it was always this game, and I hated it. And then the time that I met the one, I've been happily married for 8 years now.
Good
I knew
for you.
right
Woohoo.
away. I'm so happy because I literally knew, and there was no games.
That's
when
awesome.
you know he's the one.
That's really awesome. So you knew and he knew and you guys just clicked and you didn't have to go through all the charade and back and forth in playing the game. Good for you.
Okay.
And thank you so much for being on the air. And I really feel like I just wanted to demystify, because a lot of my girlfriends are going through the same thing. They're playing these games, and I'm like, when you know, you know.
Well, you certainly
shouldn't have to play the game.
And you certainly had a great result. So I really thank you for your call. And that's what it's all about. Let's have some fun together. And you shared some really valuable points. So I hope your girlfriends are listening in, Isabella. And thank you for your call. That was great. Viewers, if you want to get in on the discussion, that's what makes it fun, to hear all sorts of opinions from all kinds of people. So call in, put in your 2 cents worth or your toonie worth or whatever, and sort of tell us how you feel about it. I think that's really cool that Isabella shared that, right? So you're saying it's more like a buyer
I'm glad
beware.
that 1 out of 100 people had that unique opportunity, you know?
Yeah, and they're still happily married.
Right, and I'm glad that that happened for that singular person, and I'm glad that they had this unique experience. But just because she didn't do it doesn't mean that he didn't.
Well, in their case, they both
I don't know
clicked.
their case, so I won't comment on their case, okay?
Yeah.
I believe that what you said is true, and that's great.
Absolutely.
And sometimes lightning does
They're
strike.
together, so obviously, yeah.
Tremendous. But that's not the world we live in. I shouldn't have to pay tax on fruit, but I do. You know?
So you're saying by and large?
Yeah, just be aware of the world that we live in. And she's been married 8 years now. The reality is she hasn't dated in the last 8 years then. So it's really hard for someone who isn't in this world to make a comment about it.
I get it, but I think still it's valid that she said they both knew, so they didn't have to play it. Because people did play
That's
games
fair.
8
And
years ago, too.
A decade ago, things were different. Music was different.
Dating was very different. I agree.
Tinder
you
didn't
didn't have
exist.
Tinder, but still, you're right. Like, there's lots more opportunities, so it's easier for people to play the game that you're talking about. But still, people, even back then, it was, the third-day rule and this and that. It is more complicated today.
But it would be like me trying to explain to a caveman how a stove works. Actually, that's an awful analogy. But this.
It is.
Well, no,
8
actually,
years
it's
ago,
not.
it's not a
I'm
caveman.
sorry, but it is the way the world works today. So if you've never had to go on Tinder, if you have never been on an online dating site, if you have never had to take part in a lot of the ways that people meet in today's world, it's really difficult to understand that the magnitude, the amount of people you're speaking to on a basis compared to way back then.
Oh, true.
Is
Definitely.
completely different. So you had better have some kind of strong game. You had better have some kind of will, some kind of strength. Because if you don't,
just stand out from the crowd, because people are communicating with lots of people
especially for
simultaneously.
women, because women get inundated on Tinder, particularly. Like. 500 guys messaging you. So how does that one guy get through and get your attention, right?
Right.
And he better have some kind of way of doing it. And at the end of the day, that is also a game.
So that's what's when you say he's got game, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you that.
Is that a check mark in my box there?
I don't know yet. I haven't checked out your box. I've given it a check mark.
Young man, what do you think? Is that check mark in my box? Yeah? Yeah? Josh, is that
let's
check mark in
keep
my
your
box?
box aside for now. But what I'm saying is, okay, I'll give you that. That it's
Young
very
men
possible
on the
things
set
are
agree with
constantly
me.
changing. Okay, young men. Okay, good. So we'll give you a check in your box. But I'm still going to give Isabella a check as well. But she made a
100%.
really great point.
I agree
Okay.
with her point.
Okay, let's see what Sue has to say. Good evening, Sue. Question or comment tonight?
Hi, Sue. Here is Sue. Hi. My question is, I started dating a man 2 years ago. He says he was divorced. So am I. And at the first we had really great sex and everything is good, but then we don't see each other often, maybe a month or two, because he's traveling a lot. That's his job. So, and then recently I just started thinking, I started pushing I said, I don't feel that he has a desire for me as he used to. So what's happening? So he's texting me, he texts me back. My main desire is anal sex. I never had that with him. So
this is something you want or he wants?
No, he wants it.
Okay.
He says his main desire is anal sex. So I was kind of shocked because I never done that before.
Right.
And now on weekend, in the Saturday night, I texted him, he wouldn't answer, but on Sunday morning he came over. So we were intimate, and then I see his back was all scratched. So he said it was from swimming and his skin was dry or so on. So it never crossed my mind anything. But then when he left, I had all these questions. Okay, if his main thing is anal sex, if this is his pleasure, was he with someone else in the meantime? And then what are those scratches at his back? I text him after that, asking how is he doing. He's telling me, oh, I love you, baby, or, all this stuff. He's always nice. He's so sweet talker. But then deep down, I have a feeling, I don't want to ask him over the phone things. I don't want to text him, but I have a feeling something is not right. Like, I don't know if he's a gay or what's going on.
So, Sue, if he likes anal sex, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's gay. In fact, a lot of gay guys don't have anal sex and a lot of straight guys want it. At the end of the day, if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly okay. You should never indulge in something you don't want to do just to hold on to a guy. So it's perfectly okay. You don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Now, first of all, I want to answer the first part of your question. In the beginning, like when we start seeing each other, the first 2 years, give or take 6 months, Mother Nature really douses us with those feel-good hormones. So we're always wanting to be with each other. We are all lovey-dovey. We want to have lots of sex. And after that, people do go to their baseline. So it could be that he's just at his baseline and he's not feeling as passionate as he once did. It could be that he's stressed out. If he's stressed out, cortisol goes up, sex drive comes down. So it could be any number of things. So I don't want your mind to go right there. What I am wondering more about is the scratches on his back. So again, the gay thing, just because he likes anal sex, lots of straight guys, actually more straight guys like anal sex than gay guys like anal sex. So I wouldn't even go there. But the scratches is something, why didn't you ask him if you were doubtful? He sort of gave you an answer, but if you weren't sure, why didn't you ask him? Why didn't you do a little more digging when you were with him?
Well, I was just with him just recently on Sunday, and it's like he's busy with work and everything, so I don't want to call him and ask him about it directly. And I don't know, am I going crazy or what? So I'm thinking, if he was someone last night, why would he come to me next morning?
Well, he could. We don't know if he was with someone or not, but just because he was with someone the night before, it doesn't mean that he couldn't come to you the next day. So we're not saying yes or no. Do you have any comments for Sue?
Yeah. The unfortunate reality is that you have to talk to him because beyond everything that you're thinking about right now or what you believe to be true, nothing messes you up more than your mind and an idle mind who's just stirring. And you're right, it's not a good conversation to have over the phone. See if you can meet him somewhere immediately or as soon as possible, because until that conversation is had and those questions are answered, your mind is going to attack you.
Yeah.
And it's going to make things worse than it is.
Because we always assume the worst case scenario in our head, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You have to talk to him, because leaving this untouched is just going to make things worse.
I agree. So Sue, that's what I think too, that, would have been nice if you got to talk to him that night, but you have to kind of create a moment with him, like whether he comes over to your place or wherever you meet. It's a face-to-face conversation. No, it's not a good conversation, but you kind of need to know, because he's the scratches on the back, him disappearing on Saturday night and then suddenly appearing. Like, even if you are busy, it doesn't take that much to fire a text back if you've been texting him, unless it's too much, it's over the top. But I think it's a good idea to talk to him and to find out what's going on. And if you don't buy something, Sue, it's perfectly okay to say, you know what, I'm having a hard time buying that. can you explain it to me a little bit more? So it may be a really hard not maybe, it's definitely a hard conversation to have. But if you don't have that conversation, look at all the things that are going through your head. You could rule out some of those things, or you may find out. At the end of the day, if I were you, I'd want to know. I'd want to know if he's up to something. I'd want to know what he's up to, rather than guessing and letting, on the one hand, my mind could go to a crazy place. On the other hand, maybe it needs to know if something else is going on. So Sue, please, please, please talk to him, but face-to-face conversation. And this time, don't be afraid to ask, because last time when you were with him, you made love, you had these same questions and worries, but for some reason you didn't ask. This is an intimate relationship. It's perfectly okay for you to sit down face-to-face and ask him that question, and don't ask him in bed. That's a very bad place to have a sexual discussion. So whether you're having coffee together, or even if he's at your place, you're at the dining room table, but never have that discussion in bed. Not a good discussion to have that, because two things. First of all, you know, he's raring to go. Sometimes people will lie because they just want to go ahead and make love. But the other thing that happens is, if you have an icky conversation in bed, you will associate that. Next time you go to bed, you know, you'll kind of remember that ick factor, okay? So have that conversation. And if you're more confused than ever, then call us back and we'll talk some more, okay? Emma, we're going over to you. What's your question for us tonight?
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to start off by saying that I'm 22 and my partner is 45. And we've been together for 11 months.
Uh-huh.
And at this point, I feel like I'm nothing more than a prop.
Oh, ouch. What
Like,
makes
to
you
his
feel that
ego.
way?
Well, because he's so much older, right? And I don't want to sound conceited, but I'm very beautiful.
Yeah, so
And
you're
at
a
this-
trophy.
Exactly. Like, I'm nothing more than arm candy or something to show off.
Oh.
And then I'm very sensitive, and it doesn't really seem like he cares about my feelings.
Oh, that's awful.
And he told me that, like, we've been seeing each other regularly for 11 months.
Uh-huh.
So I'm under the impression that things were getting serious. But then he goes on to say, I just want things to be casual, but I still want to be committed just to you, but I only want to see you on Saturdays.
Ah. Okay, so Jeff is dying to say something. Okay, you go first, and then I have some questions and comments as well. Go for it, Jeff.
He told you everything you need to know. I don't know, you don't have any more questions. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but if someone says, I want to be casual, I want to see you on Saturday and Saturday only, we are not in a relationship. This is casual, I want to see you on Saturday and Saturday only. You are casual. It's
a lot
not
of
getting
information.
serious. It's just, you know, you've been hooking up for a year. That's all it is.
And he's, you know, she's his Saturday night
might be
date.
married.
She's his Saturday.
Oh.
Stop.
Well, I'm
She's
just-
his Saturday night date, which means she could very well be arm candy, because it's a night you go out. And
Emma, I bet you're beautiful. I bet you're on a scale of 1
And
to
she's
10,
young.
a modest 52. Okay? I bet you are. Go find someone your age who is looking for the same things you are. Because at the end of the day, do you want to get married? Yes or no?
No,
Do you want kids? Yes or no?
no.
Are you sure you're 22?
I'm 22.
Okay,
Maybe
no,
right
not
now
right
she's-
now. I mean, but like in the future. Like, do you see yourself getting married one day?
I don't know.
Because right now you're in the middle of a relationship where you've lost a lot of your confidence, which isn't fair.
Well, no, like I told him that I want a break and I'm sick of everything, so I blocked him on everything.
Good for
and then
you.
good for you.
But
Good
as soon as I do that, he's so desperate to have me back.
Yeah, because he doesn't want anyone else sleeping with you.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, he's pretty much telling you everything, that as long as he can get away with this casual thing that he wants, he's fine with it. But the second he loses you, then he's trying to win you back. And when he wins you back, if he wins you back, he's going to go back to the same thing, because he already told you he wants to keep it casual. So he may work really hard because he doesn't want to lose you. And he's going to go back to the same place that he was at before. Can I ask you, Emma, what keeps you with him?
Well, I've been through a lot in the last year, and he's just helped me through a lot. And I'm not talking about finance. I'm talking about, like, my mental health.
Okay.
There's been some serious issues, and I had to move out of my house.
Okay.
And he helped me with everything. He got me a cat so I wouldn't feel alone. I don't know, he's just been very supportive and understanding of me. And of all the other boyfriends I've had, they haven't had any patience for it, and they tell me I'm crazy and all these horrible things.
That's terrible.
But exactly, and realistically, I have anxiety disorder.
Okay.
And he's so understanding of it. So that makes me feel like he actually cares about me, but maybe he's just fronting to get me in bed. I don't know.
Well, Emma, first of all, he has more life experience. He's also very lucky to have you, so he's doing whatever he can to hold on to you. It's just like when you pull away, he went to extremes to try to win you back. So he wants to keep you in his life, and he's doing whatever he needs to do to keep you in his life. Can I ask you a really tough question, Emma? Is there some residual daddy issues left in your life? Because he sort of comes in and he takes care of you. Could it tie into that, or that's not an issue for you?
It's more with my mother. She was abusive, but not my father. My father is actually like my best friend.
Okay, so maybe that's why you're comfortable hanging out with an older guy. You had something to say.
I was just going to say that it's not shocking to me that you find him very appealing, because he will have, I mean, he's twice your age, so he has a mental maturity.
Yeah.
That
more life experience, more history,
and
seeing
understanding.
the world.
There's just a difference, especially at 40 plus, than say at 20. You have a different understanding of the way the world works.
Right.
So that doesn't surprise me at all.
And he has the means also to be able to help someone.
Yeah, but he legitimately does care about you, because a man doesn't spend a year, give or take, with you, talking, listening, and doing all those things. So I do believe he cares about you. I don't think he's looking for what it is that maybe you want.
So not enough to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
He enjoys taking care of her, having her around.
Beautiful. He wants to hang out with her. You know,
Right.
she's probably very smart as well, because she sounds intelligent.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want the company of that woman?
Right.
But
So, Emma, you know what? I think Jeff made a lot of valid points too. But what I would recommend is just know what he has said, that he wants to be casual. If that's all you want him taking care of you, keep it casual, stay there. Otherwise, revisit this idea, okay? We'll be right back. Call in to discuss anything and everything involving sex or relationships. But better hurry if you want to avoid the disappointment of us not being able to get to you. And don't you dare go channel surfing, because we have loads more stuff coming up right here on Rogers TV.
And when the missions are down, time to kill.